Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at the comedy anthology for AQA, focusing on how to write a practice paragraph about the poem Mrs. Sisyphus using a past question that has come up in a previous exam series. This video is for both AS students who will have the text in their exam because it's open book, and for A-level students who will not have the text in their exam because of the fact it's a closed book exam for the second year. I often get students wanting to see what good answers look like as a guide, and I spend a lot of time creating videos about this, as well as doing activities in class showing students how it all kind of fits together. So the main thing to remember with Lit B is the fact that you have to answer the question. So the questions that you're going to get are going to be very specific in terms of their focus. And to show that you are on task, it's always a good idea to repeat the key word of the task throughout the answer. So the question that I'm looking at in this video is about the significance of openings. And I've highlighted there in bold the word openings because that is the word that should be repeated throughout the whole answer. For example, first sentence, last sentence, and perhaps topic sentences throughout, to show that you're actually talking about what you've been asked to talk about. So using this poem, my central idea or my central argument is that the opening stanza of the poem is important because it presents the feelings of the speaker in vivid detail, which have been created because of her husband's fascination or obsession with his work. So the paragraph I'm writing is simply looking at the beginning of the poem. And if you look back at historical exam papers, past exam papers, you will notice that occasionally AQA will ask you about beginnings and openings or closings and endings. So sometimes the question that you get might be more structural, such as this. So like in other videos, I'm going to write as I talk. So hopefully the spelling and grammar will be okay. But what I'll do is I'll proofread at the end for you to just to make sure it's all accurate. Okay. So I'm going to go straight into it then. So I'm going to talk about the opening. The opening of Duffy's Mrs. Sisyphus is significant when understanding the female speaker's resentment and bitterness towards her husband's work ethic. Okay, so comically, Duffy has taken the myth of Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a hill and modernized this to make the husband seem like a workaholic. In so doing, he neglects his marriage, and his wife, which is the principal, is that the right one? Principal, that one, which is the principal source of the speaker's sarcasm and unhappiness. Mrs. Sisyphus states unapologetically that her husband is a jerk for pushing a stone the size of a kirk up a hill, thus always being at work. These This irks her, meaning it kind of gets on her nerves. And with bitter sarcasm, she admits that she could do something vicious to him with a dirk, meaning that she kind of comically wants to stab him. I don't think she actually wants to do that, but she's just saying, like, I could kill him. A lot of people say that in a relationship. The fact that she calls this large boulder a stone trivializes and perhaps undermines the difficulty and arduous work her husband is undertaking. She also fails to give him a name, simply opting to introduce him dismissively as that's him, as if eye rolling and pointing reluctantly in his direction, as if any association with him is unpleasant for her. Okay. The monosyllabic and stressed rhymes in this stanza capture the speaker's antagonism towards her husband, who foolishly fails to see the futility of his work and the impact, sour impact, this is having on his wife. I don't know where I'm going with this. I might just write a couple more sentences. The fact that the speaker is his wife enables her to develop a strong voice, which enables her to engage in this uninterrupted good word here, diatribe, which is a rant, in which she states her annoyance with comic irritation. The dysfunctionality of their marriage, linking back to the question then, is thus clearly presented in the opening of the poem. Okay, so essentially what I'm saying is that the way the poem begins is very important because it contextualizes the rest of it. From this first stanza, it's pretty obvious that she feels the way she does because of the language that she uses. So the main argument was that, like I just said, the opening captures perfectly the tone for the rest of the poem. So my focus is just going to be that first stanza. I think it's 5 lines, remember. I don't actually have the poem with me. I think it's 5 lines at the beginning. So the opening of Duffy's Mrs. Sisyphus is significant when understanding the female speaker's resentment and bitterness towards her husband's work ethic. Comically, Duffy has taken the myth of Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a hill and modernised this to make the husband seem like a workaholic. In so doing, he neglects his marriage and his wife, which is the principal source of the speaker's sarcasm and unhappiness. I think that's the wrong principle. No, I think it's right. That's right. Sorry. Mrs. Sisyphus states unapologetically that her husband is a jerk for pushing a stone the size of a kirk up a hill, thus always being at work. This irks her, I should say. And with bitter sarcasm, she admits that she could do something vicious to him with a dirk. The fact that she calls this large boulder a stone trivializes and perhaps undermines the difficulty and arduous work her husband is undertaking. She also fails to give him a name, simply opting to introduce him dismissively as "that's him," as um, as if eye rolling and pointing reluctantly in his direction, as if any association with him is unpleasant for her. The monosyllabic and stressed rhymes in this stanza capture the speaker's antagonism towards her husband, who foolishly fails to see the futility of his work and the sour impact this is having on his wife. The fact that the speaker is his wife enables her to develop a strong voice, which enables her to engage in this uninterrupted diatribe in which she states her annoyance with comic irritation. The dysfunctionality of their marriage is thus clearly presented in the opening of this poem. So I've tried there to mention opening again, just to round the paragraph off, to go back to the task, to show that I've said everything through the lens of the question, through the lens of that word opening. So hopefully that was useful. Um, like I always say, there's many different ways to write a paragraph for English. The most important thing is you write about the poem confidently and you answer the question that is set. So if you were to get a question about openings, it's for you to judge really what is the opening. Is it the first line, the first stanza? But talking about the beginnings of the poems and why they might be important in establishing something significant that is kind of maintained for the rest of the poem. Okay, so thank you very much for watching and good luck for your studies, in your studies. Thank you.